We are chopping down the thicket of unnecessary federal regulations by which government too often interferes in our personal lives and our personal business.
When President Trump bragged about cutting red tape during his first State of the Union address,
"We have undertaken a historic effort to massively reduce job-crushing regulations."
the Democratic response was hardly a surprise. But Democrats may be surprised to learn that at the dawn of the deregulation era in the 1970s, it was their party pushing to cut red tape and shut down entire federal agencies. The leading figure in the fight to slash the state was none other than Jimmy Carter.
There is a limit to the role and the function of government.
It was Senator Ted Kennedy who held extensive Senate hearings in the early 70s with testimony from the likes of Ralph Nader and liberal economist Alfred Kahn about the benefits of deregulating the airline industry. The resulting Airline Deregulation Act of 1978, signed by Carter, killed the Civil Aeronautics Board, a federal agency that decided which airlines could fly where and even what they could charge. The new competition to the old airline cartel reduced fares, expanded destinations, and made air travel an option for those of us who aren't rich.
On Southern, there's only one class of service, and it isn't second.
Carter also lifted stifling government oversight of the rail and trucking industries under a Democrat-controlled House and Senate. Result? Competition intensified, prices dropped, and consumers saved more money on everyday products.
We've deregulated the air industry, the rail industry, the trucking industry, financial institutions.
In 1978, President Carter signed into law a bill that lifted Prohibition-era criminal restrictions on home brewing. Fully legalizing do-it-yourself beer production fostered a culture of experimentation, paving the way for a craft beer revolution beginning in the 1980s and 90s. The year that Carter loosened the rules, the U.S. was home to a mere 50 breweries. Today, there are over 5,000. In 2 generations, America went from global laughingstock to world leader, producing the richest lagers and tastiest ales. The governor of California during Carter's presidency was none other than Jerry Brown, then known as Governor Moonbeam for his far-out musings, glittery social life, and lefty politics. Yet Brown, too, could be a fiery skeptic of government.
And there is an overblown rhetoric and an overblown expectation that if there is a problem, there must be a program to solve it.
In his legitimately awesome second inaugural address back in 1979, Brown said that, quote, "Many regulations primarily protect the past, prop up privilege, or prevent sensible economic choices."
The idea that government has some omnipotence or omniscience is completely absurd and counter to all the thinking that went into this country.
So air travel is now competitive, though it should be more open to foreign competition, damn it. And the beer industry has been reborn. But since the dawn of the disco era, governments at the local, state, and federal levels have imposed entirely new categories of regulations, such as occupational licensing, which applied to about 1 in 10 jobs 40 years ago, but now affects 1 in 3. Arizona, for example, will put its citizens in jail for 6 months for operating a blow dryer without a license. Texas wants to make it a criminal offense to buy pecans without proper authorization, and Washington, D.C. wants to require that all daycare providers have a college degree. The aggregate cost of these regulations is staggering. Last year, according to the Free Market Competitive Enterprise Institute, federal regulations alone cost Americans $1.9 trillion, or about 15 grand per household. And while Trump has cut the number of pages in the Federal Register by about 1/3 since he took office, there are still some 67 federal departments, agencies, and commissions currently working on over 3,000 new regulations. It seems you can't stop the regulatory state, you can only hope to contain it. As Alfred Kahn and his liberal contemporaries could have explained, licensing boards tend to be dominated by industry incumbents who are mainly interested in protecting their own turf. Regulation is the friend, not enemy, of big business. So what has changed over the years about the party of Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Democratic support for deregulation was partly born out of desperation in the age of stagflation. Cutting red tape to foster dynamism was about the last move politicians had left.
By acting now, we can control our future instead of letting the future control us.
So when the long economic expansion and stock market boom we enjoy now ends, and it will, the best thing for lawmakers of both parties to ask themselves might just be, what would Jimmy Carter do?